early. What's good, folks? We are back with another episode of Early.
Real early.
What's going on, folks? Make sure you subscribe to the channel before we get into it. We got a special episode.
Family members, all that.
Yeah, for sure. Trying to get to that stack, you know what I'm saying? So go ahead and hit subscribe before we get into the episode. But we got a dope guest on today.
Man.
Miguel.
Long time friend.
Miguel Grande of Grande Sports Training.
What's good, man?
What's going on, guys?
bro?
How we doing?
We're well, man.
Doing
Appreciate
very well.
right?
Doing very well.
You know, having the time to drop in on the show, man. How you living? How's it in Miami, right?
Miami, man. Thanks for having me. I'm really happy to be here, man. It's been a while, but I'm happy to be here.
That's
having
awesome.
You and Brick go way back, as what he was telling me.
Man,
so let's start there. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm telling. Yeah, man. Like, to be honest, I started really messing with Miguel probably like 7th, 8th grade, Kingsville Middle School.
Yeah.
And then going into Northwest. And, one thing that's really cool as, we grow throughout life is to see interests or hobbies stay constant with people, right?
Yeah.
Like, as we grow throughout our phases, like, this is important to me. It's always going to be important to me. But some people keep these hobbies and they just stay hobbies, right? But sometimes, depending on like which type of lane we go on, sometimes we're able to, make that into a profession, and as long as I've known Miguel, and I've, Miguel's always been playing soccer. I have never necessarily been, like a nigga on the field playing soccer with him. You know what I'm saying? Even though I love soccer, but like, it's just something that's like, if you know Miguel, you always know he was on the team. He's playing soccer. You know what I'm saying? And Miguel always be smiling. Like, the happiest dude, bro. You would not see this dude mad. Like,
he's been smiling since the show started. Since he logged on, he's just smiling. So I can attest to that as well.
Real shit, bro. But like, I mean, first of all, even just talk about, let's get to humble beginnings. Talk about who you are, where you from, and I mean, let's really get into the passion. Like, let's talk about your passion for soccer and like how that first hit.
Man, I'm originally from the DMV area, Maryland. I was born in Tacoma Park, ended up moving out to Germantown, and that's essentially where everything started, right? I was living by Seneca Valley High School, that whole area. Always just being out in the street, playing with my cousins there. Soccer, everything was always soccer for me, man. I grew up in a family full of soccer, and ever since then, I think that my love for the game just kept growing and growing, especially just watching like the World Cup, the Euros, going to DC United games. Like back in the day, DC United was that squad, right? Now, not so much.
Sure. I used to go to hella DC United games when I was young.
Yeah. But I mean, I could remember I was 7, 8 years old on my dad's shoulders singing the songs. Now that I hear the lyrics of the songs, they're all bad words, but I was in it. I was having a good time.
Right.
So, I think it all stemmed from an early age, and I can't complain, man. I mean, it's what I'm doing now every day. I wake up doing what I love, and I'm having a blast, man.
Yeah, I think we're definitely going to get into this whole aspect of, turning your passion into your profession, because I think that's something that everybody aspires to do. You know what I'm saying? Right. But it's way easier said than done. You know what I'm saying? A lot goes into it. But let's kind of talk a little bit about your playing career from like high school and on from there. What was your experience like in your like early playing days?
So
like, did you see a professional soccer career ahead of you, or were you kind of just playing for fun? Like, what was the vibe back then?
And even to add to that, right? It's like, because a lot of people sometimes like you're a phenom and you're going on one track, but it's like sometimes the route isn't as clear.
You got to create
keep playing soccer. So definitely that is really how does that end up?
Man, so I mean, ever since I could remember, maybe 9, 10 years old, I remember seeing Cristiano Ronaldo. You guys know who he is. I saw him in the Euros, 2004, 18 years old, super flashy. It's like seeing Mbappe, Neymar right now, super flashy player. And I was like, as a kid, 10 years old, I want to be like that guy. I want to be like that guy. I'm going to be a professional soccer player. It was engraved in my head since a young age. Right. Obviously, now looking back, I'm like, I would have done a million things different to actually get to the level I wanted to go to. But I wasn't educated in the industry. I didn't know that there was so many things behind the scenes that you had to do to even get an opportunity to get your 100%. Foot in the door. But, I was blindsided to that. But
let's pause right there real quick. Like, what are some things that, let's say, kids who are coming up who just have a passion for the game might not understand that they gotta do, whether that's extra work that they gotta put in, whether that's like networking they gotta do? What are some things that you know now that you wish you would have knew back then?
Number one, the competition is insane. So if you think you're doing enough, think again. Keep doing more.
Me and Brooke was just talking about how soccer or football is probably globally has the most participants in it, because like it's literally the sport that every nation plays. You know what I'm saying? So like, so not like basketball, not like American football, like those are like American sports that have become a little bit more global, but everybody don't grow up playing basketball. Everybody don't grow up playing football. Everybody in every nation grows up wanting to be a soccer player. So like you said, like the competition is like whatever you think you are in your neighborhood, you know what I'm saying? You got to look at the county, then you got to look at the state, then you got to look at the country, then you got to look at globally. Like the competition, I'm sure, is crazy.
But you know, also too, what I'm also interested in is, one thing that we realize being entrenched in sports is, yo, you can play this sport 20 hours a day. Speak to the other aspects of your sport that really determine how far you go. There's connections, the politics of it all. Who do you know? Whose team you're on? Whose scout finds you? Like, there's a lot of these stories of people that is like, oh man, he had the talent, right? But like maybe this person just had the better situation. So could you even speak to that? Let's just say, for instance, somebody's doing due diligence. They're putting in the hours. You know, they're enrolled into Grande sports training, which we're going to get into. They're doing all of that. But can you speak to the other aspects that do come with the sports, where it's like these also do have influences in terms of like how far your career can go?
100%. So, you know, since competition is so high, there's the 4 pillars that I always tell every soccer player: the mental aspect, the physical aspect, the technical aspect, and the tactical aspect. So that builds the footballer, right? Now, once you get a solid foundation, we got to move into the networking side. It's basically, you're your own brand. You got to put yourself out there. And a lot of people, this is where a lot of people struggle with, because putting yourself out there is not easy. You're going to get doors shut in your face. You're going to get rejected. People are going to call you crazy. Don't do that. That's stupid. Right. It's a waste of time. All these little things. So how does that affect you mentally, right? But it's who you know that gets you there, and it's what you know that keeps you there, right? So at the end of the day, as a young kid, you want to get in the best environment possible. Once you're in that environment, how can I continue to perform to stay in that environment? And when I'm staying in that environment, I need to create video highlights. I need a network. I need to keep my stats up to attract interest from maybe another club that might be beneficial for my career. And I'm talking about 14, 15, 16. You know what I mean?
And when we talking about the best environments, right? When we talking about the best environments, does this mean, yo, as you know, as like a young child, you coming into the ranks or whatnot, you need to be around like the best talent, or around a place where it gives you a shot to actually show what you're doing? Like, because sometimes I feel like a misconception is people, sometimes you think you're killing it, but it's like, but if you look left and right, you're not really playing against anybody. But then I do also know reps are probably the most important thing, right? So maybe you're with a crew of people, and it's like, yo, the talent level is great. Maybe the practices you're getting a lot, but maybe you're not playing as much as you think you're supposed to. And the thing is, it's really pivotal moment, because you're like, I'm only this age one time in my life. So am I using my time correctly playing here? Or like, you know, how do you navigate that as somebody just like in high school and they're like, I want to do this as a profession, but I don't, you know, I've seen it even with basketball many times. And Mac, I'm pretty sure like so many people will literally, just to get to that, to play for that school, they'll do something like, yo, I'm staying at this address, play this school because it just works out better for me and like what I'm trying to do, you know?
Exactly. And I think every person or every player that's in their sport, they understand like what level's the highest, right? So, for example, in soccer, like you want to be in an MLS academy. You want to be in the DC United Academy. You want to be in the Inter Miami Academy. And not necessarily because I'm in the academy, I'm better than the next guy over there, but I'm in a better situation. My talent got me to this situation, and now I can use that as leverage. Because it's like an employer looking at a resume. if this person has a better resume than the next, I'm gonna look at that person first. I'm gonna speak to that person first. You know what I mean? So it's a matter of, if I'm putting in all the reps, I'm putting in all the work behind the scenes. Now, how can I put myself in the best possible situation? And once I'm in that situation, how can I stand out? You know what I mean? So that's where it kind of gets tricky. And then I don't even want to get into that, because the U.S. soccer system is also the only system that's completely different from the rest of the world. You know what I mean? Completely different from the rest of the world. So for the average high school player, let's say, that's talented, trying to break into the professional game, they're going to send them the college route. Whereas a 17, 18-year-old kid in Denmark is already playing first team minutes with in the first division, might get like 5-10 minutes, but he's playing with grown men, you know?
And let's get into that a little bit too, because like, even like, if I wanted to even change the sport, right, I would say like an example of it, like in the basketball ways, like a Luka Doncic, right, playing at professional at 15, 16 years of age. And I'm more so like, I'm very curious, like when we talking about like the professional ranks, is it more so because like in Europe they emphasize more of a farm system, so they're scouting these children literally like 5, 6, 7, and we're really working with you over a decade. So by the time you're talking about, oh, you're a professional 17, 18, it's like, no, literally you are. We've built you into that mold. Whereas you're saying it's like more so US is like, well, good luck. Like once you're 18,
I feel like in the US, like the US just pushes kids to go to college. Like, you know what I'm saying? It don't matter what profession you are, what you wanted, what your aspirations are. They tell you from 14 years old, when you're a freshman in high school, that your goal, like the next goal, is to go to college.
But I'm saying more so like if you're in high school, I'm saying like, if you're like a collegiate athlete, you want to play professional soccer.
But you start off as a high school athlete.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So when you're in high school, they're not like, think about it, they always call it student athlete. You know what I'm saying? Like they always want you to focus on your academics first before focus. But you know what I'm saying? To your point, like in a different country, they like the end goal is to like have a trade. You know what I'm saying? So it's like whether you get the education in between is not as important as like getting the skills to be good at that trade.
The student in front of the athlete isn't as
exactly. So you're basically like a kid overseas is formed. They see the talent, they bring them in, they invest in that player, and then once they get to a certain age, we sell you. And that's how teams and clubs make money overseas. Here in the States, it's different. It's more the system. You're in the system. Parents are paying money. There's no incentive to sell the player. So whether they're 14 and talented, 20 years old and talented, we're not going to sell you. You know what I mean? Right. The U.S. doesn't develop world-class players. That's right. Like we've never developed a Neymar.
I'm about to say we've never heard of an American-born like phenom in the soccer world.
Never. So that's what I would say the biggest difference is, you know. And
that actually this kind of raises a sidebar question. Who would you say is like the best? Like I'm trying to think. I'm like thinking like Clint Dempsey. Like that can't be it. Like you're saying, like who is the best American-born soccer player we've had?
No, honestly, right now I think it's Pulisic. Christian Pulisic right now, like he's the closest thing to like the most talented player we have. Just the way he understands the game, the way he moves, his mechanics, all the little details. He's a great footballer, man, and he's performing in Europe in a top club in Italy. So
nice.
And you know what's funny though is, if anything, if US has anything, would you say, because you know when you see in years past, the Beckham join and then Messi coming in, does the U.S. have the marketing unlock, or like people trying to expand their market? So they're like, let me come to MLS, because the league pales in comparison to where I'm coming from. But it's like, y'all got the viewers though.
You can get your celebrity
viewers.
Sure.
Y'all got the great arena, like the stadiums that we throwing this in. So like, what is the appeal when players kind of start looking to U.S., but they're like, I came up in a whole nother system, whole nother country?
Hey, man, I'll be honest. Those players from overseas come to the States because of money. The States, MLS is a business. So you have the DC United, LA Galaxy, New York Red Bulls, Inter Miami. They're part of MLS. It's like a franchise. So it's not like, whereas in the Premier League, for example, every club is its own business.
Mhm.
You know, they're not owned by the Premier League. And the MLS is different since there's no promotion relegation. Everywhere else in the world except the United States and I think now Mexico, if you're in the second division and you win the league, you can move up. In the United States, you could be dead last, but you're still staying in first division. Your pockets aren't going to hurt. You know what I mean? They're investing millions of dollars to stay in that first division. So the fans are there, the revenue's there. So I think that's why all these players come, because they're giving you guys,
and it's like, and they come
to play
at
a level that's like not that hard. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. Like you said, like not that hard. Like they're coming on the tail end of their primes where they don't, you know, like they just don't got to do as much. Like it's their name that like we're buying. You know what I'm saying?
Kind of like finesse, they extend the prime.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Y'all not really that good.
So, you know what I'm saying? I can make $30 million and just come run up and down a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like they've already accomplished everything they wanted to accomplish, like soccer wise, actually. But let's go back a little bit.
It's like sending right now like LeBron to go play in like, I don't know, Greece.
Or
Asia.
Exactly.
I think Dwight Howard is playing in China right now.
Yeah. They're gonna be chilling. They're gonna get paid, and they're gonna be chilling.
Any money he demands, he gonna get it, and it's like he gonna kill, and it's like,
and he's gonna kill. That's what I'm saying.
100%. But like, let's definitely reel it back and let's get into your story as it pertains, like how you grew this into your profession. So let's talk about literally, boom, after high school. Where are you at right now? Because I feel like this is always a pivotal moment, especially for sports, like people that are paying athletes, you know what I'm saying? And you have to make that decision. A lot of people kind of go to school and kind of just put the sports to the wayside. A lot of people use it as well because they're like, yo, I like to stay active. This is a hobby. I want to do like multiple things. But, I would say it's an even fewer group of people that are like, yo,
I'm continuing my path to professional.
This is I got my eggs in this basket. Yeah. Like I'm trying to see how far I can go. So like after high school's done, boom, like what are you thinking about?
Where were you?
What are you trying to do with your life in terms of pertaining to soccer?
Man, the only thing that was on my mind is I'm trying to go professional. And what I did is I invested in myself. I went to combines, I went to tryouts. I met people. That's where I grew my network. And then I came across one coach at a combine that really put things into perspective. And this is where the networking part comes in. He's like, you got to reach out to everybody, send emails, And he showed us exactly how to do it. Big shout out to Joe Funicello. He's running a club out in Romania. And then I remember that week I came home, downloaded all the CDs of my highlight tape. My highlight tape in high school was shit, but I sent it out to every MLS team in the United States, mailed it to them. Not one answered, of course, because I didn't know. I was just doing it. I went into FIFA. I emailed every single agent, copy paste with my highlight tape, YouTube link attached. I think close to like 900 emails.
Man,
damn. I think six responded.
That's
6 responded.
Hey man, I got 6 conversions.
Yeah, 6. Hey, and then I figured out LinkedIn. I was like, oh, LinkedIn, I can use it for networking. It's not just business things. It's like there's soccer people in there. So then I just did my research, and then I came across a combine or an event out in Portugal, and that was my first overseas experience. So
what year is this?
2013. I was 19. So maybe 2 years after high school, a year and a half after high school.
Right.
In between then, I was just trying to make money, training every day, focus on my craft. Right. And then I go out to Portugal. It's like a 5-day, like a 5-day thing, 5-day camp. But I booked my ticket for 2 months, man. I'm like, after that, I'm going to go knock doors.
Right.
Oh, damn.
19 years old. I don't really know Portuguese. I know Spanish, though. Spanish is my second language. Right. And my mentality was like, I don't care what's going to happen. I don't care if I have to sleep on the bench with my backpack. I'm just going to go and do it.
Right.
Because like.
So you booked a 2-month spot. You booked a 2-month trip with no place to stay? I
had a space to stay for those 5 days.
For the 5 days.
I was like, I'm gonna make something happen there. Thankfully,
facts.
Thankfully, that week I performed well, and there was like maybe 16 players. Out of those 16, I was one of the top 2 players, and they took me to different clubs around Portugal. in that area. They stuck me in a hostel, which was like at that time I think it was like $12 a night, something super
them hostels
affordable, right?
Yeah, this works.
Hey man, but it was tough because like you're alone, you're missing your family, and then you kind of start having those thoughts like, is this really worth it? Should I go back
like
home?
what am I
missing
doing?
Germantown.
Like,
I'm missing my soccer plex. You know what I mean?
Real.
And then you kind of you really don't have anybody to like shake you back in.
Right.
So I think those times was a lot of growth personally for me because I had so many conversations with myself of like, okay, if it works out, great, then I can go here, then I can go there. If it doesn't, what do I do next? How can I bounce back from it? And it was just like a whole like over and every day for those 2 months, man.
So we talking about, you know, you making these transitions, these movements to just kind of just keep everything progressing. When do you get to the point when you're like, you come back home and you make the decision? When is it that you make the decision? I got to go out Miami if I'm really trying to keep on networking, if I'm really kind of trying to keep on leveling up in my career. When did it just come to you? You're like, yo, this is kind of like the move I have to make, and we're going to see what's what.
Yeah, man. So that was 2013. I'll fast forward 2015. I had the opportunity to go to Peru. I went to El Salvador's under 20 national team camp. My dad's from El Salvador.
Nice.
I was one of the last 3 players to get cut from the World Cup U20 squad.
Man,
that one hurt. That one hurt.
Yeah.
But it also taught me a lot. And then I had the opportunity to come here to Florida, to Miami. My grandparents had just moved a year before. And I was like, let me go check it out. Let me see if there's something there. I was emailing teams locally, and I just ended up playing here locally for the summer. And I remember that summer, I was like, damn, I need to make money because I came to Miami with like $200 to my name, man. I was gonna stay at my grandparents' house. Obviously, like I think 21 at that time. I need to make some money. I'm in Miami. I can't just be sitting at home at my grandparents' house all the time. And I get this delivery gig, just using my grandma's car to go take food delivery, like a Uber Eats before Uber Eats existed, right?
Yeah.
And bro, I kid you not, I think I was there for like 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks maybe. And one night I worked like a 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. shift. I made, I think, a total of $125.
Oh,
Jesus.
Man.
Minus the gas that I used, right?
Oh my
Jesus.
God.
So I think it was like $90 for the day, let's say.
That's like $6 an hour.
Yeah, I was like, hell no, I'm not doing this. I quit the next day, and I put up my profile on this website called Coach Up, and then I got my first client. Then I got my second client. That was like maybe 5 days after.
How long from putting up your profile until getting your how much time elapsed before you put your profile up and got a client?
It was maybe like 3-4 days. It was quick.
Oh shit, that's not bad.
Quick. You know,
And when
the man upstairs was looking out for me. Like I quit. I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I took action, put my profile.
I mean, you got to put yourself out there. Like when you put yourself out there, opportunities can present themselves.
And here's the
crazy part: when
you're
sitting in the house doing nothing.
That first client that booked me, I will never forget. They booked me for 40 sessions for the summer.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I was booked the whole summer.
That's great.
That was like almost, I want to say like 2.5K for that summer for those training sessions. And for me at that time, that was a lot, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
You put out like a highlight tape with your resume to get booked. Like how?
Yeah, like what did your profile consist of? Like how did they trust that? You know what I'm saying?
If I'm booking 40 sessions with you,
I gotta know you.
I
gotta hear testimonials. I gotta see 5-star reviews. Like,
man, I put pictures of myself playing that I played here, that I had experience there. I put some pictures of me training.
So you knew the importance of content early. You knew the importance of even capturing this content of you. Like this is like 2015, 2016.
I guess subconsciously, yeah.
Right.
And
just wasn't calling it content back then.
Yeah. And then there was like a section that would like explain like, oh, how do you run your training sessions or whatever. And I just, I just put it like I would do it,
Yeah.
Thankfully, whatever I did at that time converted and it made sense and we made it happen.
Facts.
So yeah.
So you go from this first client and the second client. what happens next? Like after, yeah, like tell us what happens next.
Brother. And then I come across Instagram. I remember I was always on Instagram. The gym fitness videos at that time were popping. Like you would see big guys just like pumping iron, everybody double liking. I want to be like that guy, ripped. And I was like, what if I do this but for soccer? Like I don't see nobody posting nothing about soccer. So in 2016, that's when I started posting. I just got my iPad, bought a tripod, recorded myself training, and then I would just put music in the background and upload it. And that's how it all started, man.
And was there like a moment when you started doing this, when you started realizing the value that it started having for people? You had no idea who these people were. You just like put in the hashtags or whatever it is. And now people, because I think one of the coolest things, I think, when you actually post things on social media is when people start having whole dialogues under your posts. There's whole comments of just having my own critics of like what you actually said, or like now people are actually going back and forth and stuff like that. And it's like, wow, like everybody's just trying to like impart information on each other. And like, when did it happen ASAP? Was it? And I want you to speak into the importance of consistency while you're doing this as well too, because a lot of people will start to put out this information and stuff like that, and instead of judging it by the quality of the information they're putting out, they're like, is anybody liking it? Is it getting shares? Yeah. And if it's not getting them likes and them shares, sometimes people try to pivot or fall off. So like when you're putting this information out, when was that moment you start realizing you're like, yo, this is actually like people, like across borders too, like all over the world, people is literally taking this information I'm putting out and trying to apply it when they go practice.
Yeah, I think at the beginning for me, I was just focused on just putting out content. I wasn't really worried about like whether it's going to convert, whether it's making sense to other people. I just wanted to showcase my training. And you know, thankfully, as time went on, I started figuring out what works, what doesn't. Maybe I do this style of content or that style of content. And then, I mean, fast forward to today, like I'm still trying to figure out ways to keep up with like social media, you know what I mean? But I think one of the most important things is just when you're scrolling on social media, like what stands out to you? That stands out to me. Oh, how can I replicate it for me in my industry? Is kind of how I make it done. And yeah, so now it's just a matter of putting my face out there, because I think right now a lot of people are resonating with personable content. So I'm just speaking about what I know, speaking about my story, my knowledge, just sharing what I'm learning from watching, like, for example, the Euros and Copa America. I'm just sharing that to the platform. And it's just, I think sometimes people overthink, oh, I don't know what to post. Or like, if I post this, it doesn't make sense. It's not good enough. They spend hours on one post. No, just get it out there. Because like you said at the beginning, Brooke, reps, everybody needs those reps. It's just like in sport. You need those reps, because then you're going to be like, oh, this one works. I like how this one feels. And then you just post and post and post. And now it's so easy.
Right. Yeah. So as we talking about, like, you know, the evolution and the growth of the brand, I definitely want to even shout out like a guy I know, like a mutual acquaintance of ours, Brian Cunningham, right? Like, you know, when it comes to like to the marketing and whatnot, like when is it when you running your business, and like I want to get to that scaling aspect of it, because not only do you actually take those in-person clients, and we go again to that, like how, you know, it's again even a little bit more high profile nowadays, but how you started realizing that, yo, I can have this whole digital, this base, this community that I can literally be like, yo, if you are valuing the free information that I'm already putting out, like you can actually subscribe, or like, you know, actually get into this basically like this community that you like cultivated, where it's like, yo, whether that, and I'm not even all the way aware of everything that even comes with. So please tell me, like, when did you feel like it was time to form, right, the Grande Sports Training? You're like, yo, I actually need to start centralizing this data. All these people keep coming at me. And I think that's the really important thing, right? When you got people subscribing or whatnot, it's data, it's emails, it's numbers. It's like I can keep on, you know what I'm saying, following up with you. So when did you start realizing, okay, I got something, this is working, but we got to go to the next level with it?
Big shout out Brian. He's actually the one that helped me organize Grande Sports, because I was just the guy on the field just doing things. He's more the business head, and he's like, okay, Miguel, this is how we're gonna do it. 1, 2, and 3. This is what you do. This is the slogan. Ba ba ba. But yeah, big shout out Brian. But I want to say after COVID hit is when I realized, like, I can't just be posting content to train people in person. Because if something like COVID happens, I can't even go outside because the field's closed. And what do I do now? I'm stuck without making an income. So that's when I realized, like, okay, I'm going to do online classes. I'm going to do Zoom calls like this, training people. But I didn't really like that. I started doing it for free because I wanted to test it out.
Right.
Because if somebody's going to train with me, I want to make sure I'm giving them something valuable in return. I'm not going to charge right off the bat. And I didn't really like how it feels. I didn't feel like I was getting through to them. So then I discovered Canva. I discovered, CapCut. I discovered all these apps. And that's when I was like, okay, well, let me start making tactical stuff, things of how the game is played, very specific explanations about positions. And then I'm just going to make an ebook and give it to you for free. Give me your email, I'll give it to you for free. So now I have maybe over 10 or 15 digital products. And what I do is I use content to drive people to my page where they can buy a digital product. If they want to work more closely with me, I offer online calls. I get to analyze their games. I break it down. I'm like, look, Brooke, Mech, this is what you're doing good. This is what you're doing bad. What were you thinking in this moment? What could have you done differently? Here's what you should do in the next game next weekend, right? So now we're doing that. And on top of that, I recently, actually this year, I just started a community, a paid community where I literally just give people everything. Workout plans, how to network, how to build your brand. And then on top of that, I'm trying to show them exactly how they can start their own page on social media to start generating income. So I'm just educating those people. So I have a bunch of like young guys, young girls, just loving soccer. They film themselves playing soccer. Here's how you can turn it around and generate some sort of income. So I'm just trying to get back to the next generation.
That's awesome,
as much as possible, man. And the best thing about it is, like, I'm just trying to make it as affordable as possible. Because me, back in Northwest Kingsview days, I'm like, man, I wish I had somebody that was telling me all this.
Yeah, facts.
That's real.
That's facts. And it's like you've made a like every part of your progression has kind of just been like seamless. It seems like, you know what I'm saying? It's like everything kind of just flows with the thing that you're like, the next thing flows with the thing that you're already doing, which is something that you don't see all the time. But it kind of makes me wonder. One of the I think toughest things about people when they want to, turn something that they're passionate about into their source of income is like burnout, or that notion of getting exhausted from the thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not sitting here saying, like, are you exhausted of soccer at this point? But like, have you reached any points where where you felt like where you just kind of felt like you know what I'm saying, kind of just like you kind of started losing the passion for it, but you kind of just had to trudge along? Like, have you ever experienced those feelings? And I know, as somebody who has done things that I'm passionate about for a living as well, like, I know I have experienced those feelings. So like, have you ever experienced those feelings? And if so, like, what did you say to yourself in those moments?
100%, man. I've had those feelings a lot. And I would say I read a lot of books now, or I listen to a lot of books. And one of the books that I listened to like a few years ago that really changed my mindset, The Untethered Soul, it explained a lot about the voices that happen in your head. You got one voice telling you to keep pushing, the other voice like, nah, Miguel, take a break, but ultimately you're the person that gets to decide which voice you want to listen to. So whenever I would have moments of burnout, I would just ask myself, like, why am I having this moment? Do I need a break? if I need a break, what do I need to do? Is it something like do something completely different? Do I need to go on a walk? Do I need to play video games? Do I just need to sleep more? Right. So I would just really dig deep into my mind and ask myself what it is that I need to like continue going. And then there's other moments where I'm just like, bro, just get up and go do it, man. Stop complaining, just do it. Like I'm stubborn because this is like what we said at the beginning. This is what I wanted. This is what I always worked for. So my daily decisions led up to the point I am today, and I can't complain about it. So that's kind of like the all in or nothing mindset, which I think it's not the healthiest sometimes, but I feel like I've reached a point where I've been able to manage when I need to take time away from work. I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing no training sessions this whole weekend. I'll see you again next Tuesday. You know what I mean? So
like, but let me just say, I 100% agree with you when you said sometimes you just tell yourself like, look, like, I don't care how I feel, I got to do it, because at the end of the day, what it boils down to is like, we really do create our own lives. You know what I'm saying? So like, if you do always succumb to that feeling of, I don't feel like doing this, you know what I'm saying? Like, ultimately, what are you setting up for yourself? You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's funny because we always talk about like our people like in society always talk about like work-life balance and all kinds of things like this. My thought is always like, well, what kind of life do you want? Do you want a life that is productive and meaningful, or do you want a life where you just do whatever you feel like doing? You know what I'm saying? And when you look at examples of people who have done like whatever they felt like doing, maybe not what they had to do, but what they wanted to do, is that an example of what you want your life to turn out like? You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like some of the people that we look up to the most are the people who are on record of like doing shit that they didn't want to do. You know, like Kobe Bryant, you know what I'm saying? Like, he didn't want to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning. He felt like he just had to because he had to get a leg up on everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like, go ahead.
I feel like it just speaks to, at the end of the day, even when motivation or inspiration, when that shit fails you, as long as you have discipline and discipline, you'll keep on moving. Yeah. And that's really like the motivation and all of that. Like, that's the extra, right? That's the, if you get that surplus to keep you pushing, that's awesome. But
that motivation really runs out. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like,
if it's built in discipline, then you know day by day you're gonna stick to this type of process. And then it's more so you don't have to beat yourself up by the returns day by day. You kind of evaluate yourselves in periods, right? Like, there's in a year you got 4 quarters. I'm gonna check in after the first quarter, see what it is that I'm doing, make some adjustments. Boom. Second quarter, you're like, yo, did those adjustments even do anything? I got the next half of the year to do what I gotta do.
And it's crazy. You reset, you got 4 quarters, you got 12 months, you got you got 50, you got 54 weeks. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's always different kind of ways you could break up like how you want to evaluate what you got going on in life. You know what I'm saying?
No, 100%. And that's all it is. It's about staying consistent in what you do. And if you love what you do, you're gonna do it regardless. Sometimes you're gonna put in more work than other days, but regardless, you have to show up. Because this is what you want. So that's kind of the mentality I took. It all started right here, though, right? All the conversations that happen up here in your mind and just continuously pushing through to it. Today I'm going to take a day off, but I need to send this one email. Now, tomorrow I'm sending 100, you know, like little things like that. Just staying disciplined. That's the secret right there. Consistency.
I got to check out that book, The Untethered Soul. You said The Untethered Soul?
Yeah, man. Untethered Soul.
Yeah, definitely going to check that out. Who's the author? Can you recall?
Michael Singer, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, say less. Definitely check that.
I have a list of books, man. I'm gonna send it to you.
Yeah, no, I do too. So I'm about to add that joint to mine.
Like, so now when we talking about, you know, I want to talk into, you know, people stay tuned into your page, you know, as of late, you know, you'll see some of the bigger names. I had seen one athlete, can't recall his name, but I think he's I got kind of like a well-known professional soccer player. I also seen Ocho Cinco, you know what I'm saying? I seen Chad Johnson pull up to the training session. That was awesome. And when I seen that, have you built the brand to the point where the demand, it's like people are speaking my name in these places, and people, I'm just looking in the DM or my email, and that next thing you know, these people are trying to request for a training? Or are you reaching out? Are you finding people, you know, because, you know, you also in Miami, and, you know, sometimes when you happen to be in these locales too, you'd be very surprised who you just cross
Run
on a
into,
day-to-day
yeah.
basis, right? And if you know what I'm saying, if you have something established on your own, it's nothing to just be like, yo, like, I know that you're into this. I have this set up. Why not we just like bring two and two together? So how does that come across you starting to get some more high profile clients, and what is the effect on the business in turn, right? People starting to be like, yo, what, you training this guy? Like, does that actually affect the actual sales and stuff like that? So like, get into that a little bit.
It goes back to like building your network. So the player that you're talking about, Douglas Costa, big player, played at Brazilian national team, Juventus, Bayern Munich, now plays in Brazil. But it's more so I was connected to him through a mutual friend that he wanted to train while he was in Miami. I'm like, yes, tomorrow 10 a.m. Can you do it? Yes, I'm there. That's an opportunity that doesn't roll around often, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Ocho Cinco, same thing. I had a friend that was like, yo, Ocho's in Miami. He's trying to train tomorrow. Can you train him? I'm like, yes, of course. Let's make it happen.
right.
Next thing you know, I get a text from Ocho. He's like, yo, Miguel, boss, it's Ocho. How you doing? I'm like, yo, what?
That's unreal.
So that was pretty dope. And then, you know, Ocho's a fantastic guy, man. He's super down to earth. He's super chill, funny dude, man. We're cracking jokes. He's like how we're having conversations right now. That's how he is, man.
Yeah.
And I want to say that personally, the way I'm seeing it, like if I stand from the outside and I look at Grande Sports from the outside, I think that does help a lot, like with the brand, like who you associate with, who you're training with. Other
100%.
people are like, oh, damn, like, yeah, I want to train with you. Like, it's definitely helped with sales. They see I have a picture with Ocho. They're like, Miguel, you have a opening tomorrow, next Tuesday? I'm like, yeah, man, 9:30, come through, you know?
I mean, that's how people are. Like, people they want to train with who the best people train with. You know what I'm saying? Or they want to work with who the best people work with.
Is there like is there a capacity on your trainings? Or like, I know people, is it like just a matter of what they pay? I know some maybe people wants that personalized training, but sometimes it looks like that you also have them groups. Like, do you have a cap off? Do you be like, yo, I got a 9:30 today, 20 slots, and then I got another one at 12 p.m. Like, how do you even go about like setting, like, what is the schedule in terms of like what people can actually book when it comes to like trying to get training?
Yeah, so with the soccer training, I always try to keep it, for me, I want to keep the environment and the competitiveness and the intensity as high as possible. So I try to group players together that are of the same like level.
Do you do that on your accord? They're not like going to your site and being like, yo, I'm intermediate or I'm advanced. You're like, no. Based on what I've seen, I know exactly which slot to put you in.
And that's something I'm working on, because I need to make it like a little easier process, so I'm not like killing myself on the computer. You got
to actually go watch film on these guys and scout them, just to put them in a group.
No, but it's crazy. I mean, you probably felt this too, guys. Like you could look at somebody and be like, yeah, that guy's a baller. That guy knows how to play. There's by the way they walk, the way they dress.
Yeah, there's something to be said about being able to do like a quick read on somebody, and the more experience you have, the better your reads get. 100%. Of course, sometimes you're inaccurate, but like the more experience you have, because I mean that whole saying of like, don't judge a book by its cover. No, we absolutely judge books by their cover. You know what I'm saying? Like, we do that subconsciously, even if we don't want to. And sometimes we have to check ourselves like, okay, is this a fair judgment, or is this like a stereotypical judgment? But I feel like I mean, you know, that's how we survived in the fucking caveman days. You had to assess situations from face value. You know what I'm saying?
So primarily for summer, I do group trainings, and I try to cap it at 10 per group, just because I still want it to feel that personalized feeling. If I do more, now it feels like a team training. I don't want that. They already have their team for that. And then during like fall, winter, and spring, it's more like private training or semi-private training, like groups of 4 or groups of 5 max, because, you know, I'm more so the supplemental training to what they're already doing. You know what I mean? Right. And then like next week, I'm having a whole camp. So we're going to have like 40 players out there, 40 young players, along with a couple other coaches. And, you know, so it's like seasonal work. But at the end of the day, it's always the same message, man. I'm trying to create and cultivate great human beings, great footballers, and then just always come out with energy, man.
Bro,
Energy always moves everything, you know?
hell
Yeah.
yeah. And
No, but real quick though, you said you had the four pillars for like a great footballer, right? You have the mental, the physical, the technical, and the tactical. Can you go into a little bit about what each of those things, like why each of those things are important and how you go about instilling those things in each player or each person that you work with, or just how you get them to think about it?
So I ranked them all number one. Like, I don't know if you guys read that book, Winning by Tim Grover. And he like lists like
I've heard
12
of it, but I
things.
haven't read it. Yeah.
He lists like 12 things, and every one is ranked number one because not one is more
okay.
important than the other. And the same thing for
Yeah.
the four pillars. Like the mental aspect is how are we focused on dealing with rejection? Are we disciplined enough to show up every day? Can we overcome any adversities that are thrown our way? Can we figure out things when it's not going our way? Like all these little barriers. Can we give ourselves pat on the back when things do go our way? When we have positive outcomes. The technical aspect is just your technique, the way you receive a ball, the way you pass a ball, the way you shoot, your control, all these little details that every soccer player needs. And 95% of the time, you're going to be passing and receiving, right? Can we do a one-touch pass, two-touch pass? Can we dribble at speed? Can we do it all under pressure? And most importantly, can we do it consistently, right? The physical aspect. There's a certain way that soccer players move. So how are your body mechanics? Are you fit? Are you mobile? Are you agile? Can you maintain the same intensity for 90 minutes, right? If you can't, how do we get there? All these little details. And then the tactical aspect is just your game understanding, your football IQ. Do you understand the roles and responsibility of your position? Do you understand the zones of the field? Like, do you understand the current situation at hand? And in soccer, I mean, it's 11v11, but I break it down for these younger players that most of them haven't been taught is not really an 11v11 game. It's a 1v1, 2v1, 4v3, depending on the zone of the field that you're currently in. So that's the things that I want these players to see. And when I work with them, I try to like just push it down into their head so that they understand all these little things. And everything has to come together for you to be like that soccer player that at least can perform to the level that you want to perform. You know what I mean?
No, that's real.
Yeah.
And lastly, I definitely, one thing that I've always been so like, like I've never been aware of, like, what are the different leagues that people can join when they're like, now you're an adult and whatnot? Because like, I feel like there's so many different type leagues. Like, what can you do if you're just trying to get highlights? You just join any adult club league, like locally, and you just start playing soccer with them? Or are there like certain ones you want to apply to? Because it feels like there's just so many different ways, I guess, entry, if per se, but it also seems like, but then I know the networking is also very important. So is it just a matter of getting footage or getting coverage of yourself? Because like once you're out of school, it seems like it's very intentional. You have to really want to put yourself in that type of position.
Yeah. So there's the soccer pyramid, let's say in the United States, which is basically, right, we have the MLS first division, we have USL Championship second division, and third division we have MLS Next Pro, NISA, and USL 1. And then the fourth division is considered semi-pro. So this is where, let's say, most of the competitive players can get their foot in the door. It's a little bit easier. It's USL 2, NPSL, and UPSL. Okay. And then if we go a level below that, which is considered the fifth division, it's just all the amateur leagues. And I think it varies state by state, which the way it works is if you're playing in a league, you want to get footage of you dominating in that league and then look to make that jump, or simply just go to open tryouts. And if they like you, they take you, or they invite you in for a training session. You know what I mean?
And these are like places, and this is like multiple within the state or within.
Yeah. I mean, it's on a national level, like that. Those leagues are on a national level, and I think within every state there's maybe something. There's leagues that are slightly different, but then they're not considered like the fourth division. They're just like local recreational leagues, right?
Right.
And sometimes they film those games, sometimes they don't. I think it just depends on the league, you know.
Right.
So
But that's
Miguel,
most
what you
important.
got? What do you have coming up these days that you're super excited about or working on?
I know you got that camp, right? Got the camp.
I got that big camp coming up next week. Actually, with the guy that motivated me to start my page. So it's like we're coming full circle.
That's
Like
nice.
the reason I started posting videos was because of this guy. He's actually from Australia, coming all the way to Miami to do this camp for the week. So
are the
that's
slots filled, or is there still time for people to get in there?
We still got a few spots left. We still got a few spots left. I think we're gonna close registration on Sunday or Monday. We start Tuesday, so they got a few more days left. But you know, we're making it happen. It's gonna be super exciting. If they can't get into the camp, we're gonna do private sessions in the evenings for the whole week. So we got that. That's really exciting, Mech, coming up. And then I'm still currently playing. So I'm just
right.
I'm really excited just to.
So where are you? Where are you playing currently? Like, what's you just talked about that pyramid. Where are you at? Like in it? Like you know what I'm saying? So yeah, talk about a little bit about
I'm currently with a club called Miami United. We're in the 4th division of the pyramid. I think next season we're moving up to the 3rd division.
Nice.
And you know, I wake up every day training. We train at 7 a.m. I get to do what I love, training. I'm still young, man. I'm only 30 years young. My legs my legs are still working. I'm gonna keep going till they fall off, right? So I think that's one thing that really excites me. Just getting up every day and playing. And then of course I live in a beautiful home with my beautiful girlfriend. I got a little cat. My family's healthy. Life is great. Honestly, I just think my everyday is just fantastic. I can't complain.
That's what I say. With all the things you got going on, what does like a typical day look like for you? If you're getting up, training at 7 in the morning, like what's the rest of your day look like?
Man, so I'm waking up 6 a.m., out the door by 6:45. Thankfully, the training field is super close. We start training around 7:15, an hour and a half. And then I got my first group of training, 9:30 a.m., second group of training, 10:30. I'm done out of the field by 11:45, get home, eat lunch, chill for a little bit. And then that's when I start making some content at home or working on some things with my online clients. Sometimes, depending on the day, I might have an evening session around 5-6 p.m.
Right.
But right now in the summer, I just try to book everybody in the mornings because I want to have the rest of the day free, man. But that's what a typical day for me looks like. Sometimes I hit the gym in the evening time too. Some light 45-minute workout, nothing too crazy, just to maintain, because I'm already working out in the morning. But yeah, man, that's basically it. I'm just all day after.
Yeah. But so with the content strategy, like do you kind of map out how you want to do content? Because you hear about people who will do like these like content schedule kind of things. Like is your content like that intentional, or is it kind of like free falling? Like what's your strategy when it comes to that?
Honestly, no, man. I don't have no content schedule. I feel like maybe I should, but honestly, it's been working what I'm doing right now. I just whatever I feel like posting that day. If I have a thought and I'm like, like this makes sense, I need to get it out, I just create the content and post. If some days I'll go 2 or 3 days without posting, but thankfully, like the content from the past days are still like making rounds. I'm still getting likes, I'm still getting comments, I'm still getting follows, which is fantastic. But honestly, I don't have a content schedule. I just post whatever I feel that day is important. And the cool thing about it is there's games like every week and every day, so I can just post about that game or something that I saw. And it's a quick, for me, making content takes me like 10-15 minutes, so it's quick.
Right.
Yeah, that's facts. Where is the best place for people to keep up with you, to drop your website so folks can go and reach out for trainings if they need that, and all the digital products you got going on? Where's the best place for people to kind of keep up?
I would say Instagram, man, at Grande Sports Training 2. And the reason it has a 2 is because the first account got deleted when I hit 10K.
Man,
I didn't know about the copyright infringement rules, all that stuff. You know, I thought I was doing the right thing.
It's like they brought that shit out of nowhere though, because
Yeah.
you know, if you've been on Instagram since 2014, 2015, like, you know, there was a whole time when people didn't care about
like,
that.
give me a warning, man.
Exactly. And yeah, you can find all my content there. I'm also on YouTube, TikTok. And if you want to visit my website, www.grandesportstraining.com, and you can find all my digital products there, everything. So that's the best thing. And if you just want to follow my personal, at mgrande8.
Nice.
Right.
For sure, man.
Hey, Miguel, man, it was a pleasure talking to you, bro.
Man, thank you so much for having me, guys.
Yeah, for sure. It's really dope to get into your backstory, and then even like how you've gotten everything kind of moving these days. I think we've said it a lot, but I think people really do appreciate folks who can literally take their passion and turn it into their thing for life. You know what I'm saying? 100%. And it's really inspirational, actually. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like you're an inspiration to a lot of folks, and really appreciate you coming on to have this convo with us.
No, I appreciate it, guys. I mean, and I'll leave you with one last thing. I think, you know, if you're passionate about something, make that your priority. Like, everything else comes second, man. And I think that's what's helped me get to the point I am today. Like, literally, if it was soccer, if soccer's happening or this, I'm doing soccer first, and then I'll do all the time. Like, and I wouldn't care who got mad. I wouldn't care who was upset. Like, maybe some relationships got broken because of that, but hey, at the end of the day, that means those people weren't right for me then. You know what I mean? Because this is who I am. I was very true to who I was, my identity, and I just wanted to run with it. Because at the end of the day, you know, life is short. Just do what you love, man.
That's facts, bro. Perfect way to leave it right there.
Yeah, man. Again, appreciate you, bro. Until next time, for sure, man.
Appreciate you guys, man. Thank you so much, man.
Early.